The world was celebrating. For the first time in human history, there was true peace on Earth. After centuries of wars, the last peace treaty had been signed 3 months ago. The United Earth Coalition now united all nations under one flag. Captain Han stood on the bridge of the UEC Peacekeeper, Earth's largest ship. He looked at the view screen showing the celebration in Seoul. Fireworks lit up the night sky in colors of red, blue, and gold. "It's a good day to be human," said Han to his first officer. Just then, the alarm sounded. Red lights flashed across the bridge. "Sir, unknown object approaching Earth orbit," yelled the radar officer. Han rushed to his command chair. "Show me." The view screen changed. A massive ship, unlike anything humans had built, moved slowly toward Earth. It was smooth and silver, shaped like an arrow, and at least 5 times bigger than the Peacekeeper. "Is it a meteor?" asked Han. "No, sir. It's slowing down. It's a ship." The bridge fell silent. Humanity had never found proof of alien life before. "Send a message on all channels," ordered Han. "This is Captain Han of the United Earth Coalition. We welcome peaceful contact." For 10 minutes, nothing happened. Then the view screen flickered. A being appeared on screen. It looked almost human, but with pale blue skin and large eyes that shined like gold coins. It wore what looked like a uniform with many decorations. "I am Ambassador Vex of the Vostran Confederation," it said in perfect English. "We have been watching your planet for some time." Han stood tall. "We are honored to make first contact. Earth is united and peaceful. We hope to learn from your people." The alien's face showed surprise. "United. Our records show your species constantly at war. This is unexpected." "We have found a better way," said Han. "We would be happy to share our path to peace." The alien seemed to consider this. "The Vostran Confederation controls 500 star systems. We offer Earth a place as a protectorate in our empire. We will guide your development." Han noticed something in the alien's tone. It sounded like someone talking to a child. "That is a generous offer," Han said carefully. "Our leaders will need to discuss it. Would you join us on Earth for talks?" The alien nodded. "I will bring a small delegation. Prepare your leaders." When the transmission ended, Han's first officer whispered, "Did they just offer to take over our planet?" Han nodded slowly. "I think they did, and I don't think they're used to hearing no." Within hours, the news spread worldwide. Aliens were real, and they had arrived just as humanity achieved peace. In the emergency meeting of the UEC Council, President Tae-won listened to the reports. "They have technology far beyond ours," said General Kim. "Their ship has power readings off our charts." "But why now?" asked Tae-won. "After all this time?" Defense Minister Gina stood up. "Sir, I believe they were waiting. Their ambassador seems surprised we are united. I think they expected to find us weak and divided." Tae-won looked at the images of the alien ship. "We worked too hard for our peace to give it away." "Captain Han, prepare your ship." "Minister Gina, activate the Jupiter Defense Project, and someone find me our best diplomat." As the meeting ended, Tae-won looked out the window at the celebration still happening in the streets. "We finally gave peace a chance," he said quietly, "and I won't let anyone take it from us." In her apartment in New Seoul, diplomat Jae-in was packing when her phone rang. She had no idea that the call would take her not just to another country, but to the stars themselves. The Vostrans had arrived expecting a divided planet ripe for control. Instead, they found a united humanity, one that had learned all the lessons of war and was now ready for peace. But peace didn't mean weakness. Not anymore. Jae-in stood on the observation deck of the Vostran ship, trying not to show her amazement. The stars streaked by as they traveled faster than light. Just 2 weeks ago, she had been Earth's top diplomat. Now she was the first human to leave the solar system. "Is the view pleasing to you, Diplomat Jae-in?" asked Vex, the Vostran ambassador. Very much so, she replied with a bow. We humans have dreamed of the stars for centuries. Vex smiled, but his golden eyes remained cold. Dreams are for children. The Vostran Confederation deals in realities. You will learn much from us. Jian nodded humbly. That is why I am here. To learn. What she didn't say was that learning was exactly her mission. President Taewon had been clear. Observe everything. Remember everything. We need to know what we're dealing with. The trip to the Vostran homeworld took 3 days. When they arrived, Jian saw a planet of towering cities and massive ships. The Vostrans had built an empire across the stars, just as they claimed. Her quarters were large but plain. These are standard rooms for species awaiting full membership, explained her guide. Every day, Vostran teachers came to instruct her in their ways. They spoke of their 5,000 years of space travel, their conquest of primitive worlds, and their guidance of lesser species. Jian asked many questions and acted impressed by everything. The Vostrans seemed pleased by her simple understanding. Your species learns quickly for primitives, said her main teacher, Mox. Perhaps in a few hundred years, you may earn limited technology rights. What about your ships? Jian asked innocently. How do they work? Mox laughed. That is far beyond your understanding. But I can show you our museum. The museum displayed old Vostran ships. While pretending to admire them, Jian carefully studied their design. She noticed that some parts hadn't changed in thousands of years. That night, she recorded her observations using a small device hidden in her necklace. Their technology is advanced but static. They don't innovate much. They follow the same patterns their ancestors set. Back on Earth, Chief Engineer Do-Yun received Jian's reports. He worked in a secret lab under the Pacific Ocean, studying the small Vostran shuttle that had brought their delegation to Earth. Look at this engine design, he told his team. It's powerful but inefficient. They're wasting at least 30% of their energy. His assistant looked confused. How could such an advanced species miss that? Because they don't question their own designs, said Do-Yun. Jian's reports say their society punishes those who challenge tradition. He pointed to the shuttle's power core. We can make this better. Much better. In orbit around Jupiter, Admiral Sunwoo watched as workers built Earth's first space fleet in secret. Once he had been Earth's most feared warlord. Now he used that knowledge to protect humanity. How long until the first ship is ready? He asked. 3 months, sir, replied his officer. But the Vostrans think we're just building a space station. Sunwoo nodded. Keep it that way. On the Vostran homeworld, Jian was invited to a High Council meeting. She sat quietly in the back as the Vostran leaders discussed their empire. The Earth integration proceeds as planned, said a high official. Their resources will serve us well. The humans will make good workers for the outer colonies. When do we begin the resource extraction? Asked another. Once they sign the full protectorate agreement. Their leaders are simple and trusting. It will not take long. Jian kept her face calm, but her heart raced. She needed to warn Earth. That night, she sent an urgent message. They plan to strip our planet and use our people for labor. They've done this before to many worlds. As she sent the message, she didn't notice the small camera watching her from the corner of her room. On Earth, President Taewon received Jian's warning. He looked at his advisors. It seems the Vostrans mistake our peace for weakness, he said. It's time to show them how wrong they are. Jian knew she was in danger. The next morning, 2 Vostran guards came to her room. The High Council requests your presence, one said coldly. She was led to a large chamber where 5 Vostrans sat at a high table. Their blue skin seemed darker in the dim light, their golden eyes harder. Diplomat Jian, said the center figure. We have watched you with interest. Jian bowed respectfully. I am honored by your attention. The leader's mouth formed what might have been a smile. Last night, you sent a message to Earth, a message that contained lies about our intentions. Jian's heart raced, but her face stayed calm. I reported what I heard in this very building. You misunderstood, said the leader. We offer guidance to primitive species. It is for your own good. Another Vostran stood. It is time to end this game. The pacification fleet has already launched for Earth. Your planet will be ours in 7 days. Jian straightened her back. You've made a mistake. Earth is not what you think. We have conquered 47 worlds, laughed the Vostran. All thought they were special. None were. On Earth, President Taewon gathered his war council. The room was deep underground, safe from any Vostran technology. Jian's signal was cut off, said Defense Minister Gina. And we've detected a large fleet leaving Vostran space. Admiral Sunwoo pointed to a star map. They'll reach Earth in 1 week. We have 26 ships ready. They have over 100. But our ships are better, said Chief Engineer Do-Yun. I've improved their engine design by 40%. Our weapons use their basic technology, but with human innovations. Taewon nodded. And we have something they don't expect. A united planet that knows how to fight. He turned to Admiral Sunwoo. Admiral, you once led armies against nations. Now you will lead Earth against the stars. Sunwoo's face was grim. I spent my life fighting. I know every strategy, every trick. The Vostrans have only conquered. They've never faced a real enemy. What about Jian? Asked Gina. Taewon looked down. We must assume she's been captured. We will try to save her, but Earth comes first. Back on the Vostran homeworld, Jian was not in a prison as she expected. Instead, they kept her in her quarters, now with guards outside. You will witness Earth's submission, said Mox when he brought her food. It will help you accept your new place. Jian ate slowly. You said you've conquered 47 worlds. What happened to them? Mox seemed proud to explain. The same thing that will happen to Earth. We take the resources we need. The inhabitants work in our mines and factories. Some serve in our homes. It is the natural order. And if they resist, none resist for long. Our method is always the same. We offer friendship, then protection. By the time they realize the truth, it's too late. When Mox left, Jian pulled out a small device hidden in her shoe. It was still working. The Vostrans had found her official communicator but missed her backup. She recorded everything Mox had said, especially the part about their method. She had one chance to send this information. The Vostrans would detect a direct transmission to Earth, but not a short-range one. She needed someone to carry her message. Through her window, Jian could see the spaceport. Ships came and went all day. One of them was small and rusty, clearly not Vostran. The pilot looked different too, green skin and 4 arms. That night, she programmed her device to find that ship's communication system. To any non-Vostran ship, I have information vital to Earth's survival. The payment will be substantial. The next morning, she watched the small green pilot look up at her window. He gave a quick nod before boarding his ship. Hours later, Admiral Sunwoo received a transmission from an unknown alien. It contained Jian's voice describing the exact Vostran invasion plan, their ship formations, and their attack patterns. Sunwoo smiled for the first time in days. Now we can fight them. Now we can win. The Vostran ambassador stood before the United Earth Council. His blue skin seemed to glow under the bright lights of the council chamber. The time has come, he announced, for Earth to sign the Protectorate Agreement. President Taewon looked at the faces around him. 200 leaders from every corner of Earth met his eyes. They all knew what was coming. Ambassador, said Taewon, standing slowly, Earth has considered your offer carefully. The Vostran smiled. This was always how it went. The primitive species would thank them for their generosity, sign the agreement, and only later discover what they had done. We reject your offer, said Taewon firmly. The ambassador's golden eyes widened. What? Earth will not become a protectorate. We will not give up our freedom or our resources. The Vostran's face darkened. This is most unwise. The Confederation offers protection. Without it, who knows what dangers might find Earth? Taewon smiled. Are you threatening us, Ambassador? Merely stating facts, said the Vostran. The galaxy is dangerous. Small worlds need protection. We protect ourselves now, said Taewon. We united our world without your help. We will face the galaxy the same way. The ambassador looked shocked. This had never happened before. The pattern was always the same. Offer help, make threats, watch the primitive world submit. You have 3 days to reconsider, the Vostran said coldly. After that, the consequences are yours to bear. After the ambassador left, Defense Minister Jina approached Taewon. His ship is sending messages to their fleet. They're speeding up. How soon? Asked Taewon. 2 days, not 7. They'll be here in 48 hours. Taewon nodded. Just as Jaehyun warned us. They always follow the same plan. In deep space, the Vostran fleet commander received new orders. His name was Draz, and he had led 12 successful planetary conquests. Earth has rejected our offer, said the message from the homeworld. Proceed with standard pacification. Draz laughed. This would be easy. Earth had no space fleet, no defense system. Their most advanced ship couldn't even leave their own moon. Increase speed, he ordered. We will reach Earth in 2 days. His second-in-command looked concerned. Sir, our scouts report unusual activity near the gas giant in their system. Probably mining operations, said Draz dismissively. These primitives often try to gather resources when they sense danger. But sir, our sensors can't penetrate the moon's atmosphere. There could be. Enough, snapped Draz. I have conquered 12 worlds. Earth will be 13. Prepare the invasion force. Around Jupiter, hidden among its many moons, Earth's fleet waited. 26 ships, built in secret over the past months. They weren't as big as Vostran ships, but they were faster and more efficient. Admiral Sunwoo gathered his captains for a final briefing. Captain Han of the Peacekeeper was there, along with Captain Minho of the Defiance and 19 others. The Vostrans will arrive in 2 days, said Sunwoo. They expect no resistance. They expect us to be primitive and afraid. He showed them a hologram of the Vostran fleet formation, based on Jaehyun's intelligence. They always attack the same way. Their big ships in front, smaller ones behind. They aim for population centers first, to cause panic. Captain Han studied the formation. Their ships look powerful. They are, agreed Sunwoo. In a direct fight, we would lose, but we won't fight directly. He changed the hologram to show Earth's solar system. We'll hide here, here, and here. When their fleet passes Mars, we strike from behind, hit their smaller ships first, then scatter before they can respond. A guerrilla attack, said Captain Minho with a smile. Like the old days on Earth. Sunwoo nodded. Exactly. The Vostrans have never faced a united species that knows how to fight. They've only conquered the weak and divided. He looked at each captain. Earth gave peace a chance. We found it. Now we'll defend it. As the captains returned to their ships, Sunwoo received one last message from Earth. President Taewon's voice was clear. The fate of our world is in your hands. Admiral, show them what humans can do. The Vostran fleet appeared near Mars, just as expected. 117 ships, their metal hulls gleaming in the sunlight. The largest was Commander Draz's flagship, the Conqueror, 5 times bigger than any human ship. From his command chair, Draz looked at the blue planet ahead. Scan for defenses, he ordered. His crew worked quickly. Sir, we detect primitive satellites and a small station. No weapons systems, no shields. They are defenseless. Draz smiled. This was always his favorite moment, when a planet realized it had no hope. Send the standard message, he commanded. Tell them to surrender or be destroyed. The message was sent to Earth in all major languages, on screens around the world. Draz's blue face appeared. "People of Earth," he said, "you have rejected our generous offer. Now you will surrender or face extinction. You have 1 hour to decide." In the underground command center, President Taewon watched with the Earth Council. "He's right on schedule," said Taewon, just as Jae-in said he would be. Defense Minister Gina nodded. "They always follow the same pattern. Give the ultimatum. Wait 1 hour, then attack major cities to cause panic." "What shall we tell them?" asked a council member. Taewon smiled. "Nothing. Let them think we're frozen in fear. Admiral Sunwoo, are you ready?" Through the secure channel, Sunwoo's voice came clear. "All ships in position. The Vostrans suspect nothing." "Begin when ready," ordered Taewon, "and may luck be with you." On the Conqueror, Draz grew impatient. "No response from Earth yet." "None, Commander. They must be arguing among themselves. Primitives always do." Draz laughed. "Prepare the first wave. Target their largest cities to break their spirit." Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. "Commander, energy signatures behind us." Draz spun around. "What? From where?" They appeared from nowhere. 26 ships, approaching fast. On his screen, Draz saw human ships emerging from hiding places across the solar system. Some had been hiding behind Mars moons. Others came from the asteroid belt. They moved in perfect formation, faster than any ships he had seen before. "Impossible," he whispered. "They can't have spaceships. They're primitives." Before he could give orders, the human ships opened fire. Their weapons cut through the shields of his smaller vessels with surprising power. "Return fire," screamed Draz. But his fleet was in disarray. The human ships didn't stay still. They fired, moved, and fired again from new positions. On the UEC Defiance, Captain Minho watched his target explode. First kill confirmed. Moving to next target. All across space, the same scene played out. Earth ships attacked with speed and precision, then vanished before the Vostrans could lock weapons on them. On the Peacekeeper, Captain Han led a squadron against the Vostran supply ships. "Fire torpedoes, then break right," he commanded. The Vostran ships were bigger and had more weapons, but they were slower to turn. The human ships danced around them, striking vulnerable points that Jae-in had identified in her intelligence reports. In his command ship, Admiral Sunwoo watched the battle unfold. Phase 1 complete. 23 enemy ships disabled. Begin Phase 2. The human fleet regrouped and charged directly at the heart of the Vostran Armada. This time, they targeted the command ships. On the Conqueror, Draz was panicking. "How is this happening? They're just humans." "Sir, we've lost a third of the fleet. Their weapons are cutting through our shields like they're not even there." Draz stared at the approaching human ships in disbelief. "This isn't possible. We've conquered 47 worlds. No one has ever fought back like this." As the UEC Peacekeeper approached his ship, Draz finally understood his mistake. Earth wasn't like the other worlds. They had found peace, but they remembered war. And now, they were bringing that knowledge to the stars. Admiral Sunwoo's voice echoed across all channels. "Vostran command ship, this is Admiral Sunwoo of Earth. Prepare to be boarded." Commander Draz sat in his chair as human soldiers entered the bridge of the Conqueror. Their suits were simple but effective, their weapons pointed at his crew. Behind them walked Admiral Sunwoo, a tall man with calm eyes. "You are the commander?" asked Sunwoo. Draz stood up, trying to look proud despite his defeat. "I am Commander Draz of the Vostran Confederation. I demand that you kill me with honor." Sunwoo looked surprised. "Kill you? Why would we do that?" "It is what happens to the defeated," said Draz. "It is our way." Sunwoo shook his head. "Not our way. Not anymore." He turned to his soldiers. "Secure the ship, but harm no one unless they resist." As the soldiers moved through the ship, Draz watched in confusion. This was not how war was supposed to end. The victors were meant to destroy the losers. That was the way of the galaxy. "What will you do with us?" he asked. Sun Wu looked out the view screen at the damaged Vostran fleet. 37 ships destroyed, 42 disabled. Only 38 remained operational, and they were surrounded by Earth vessels. "That depends on you," said Sun Wu. "I have a message from our president." A screen lit up showing President Taewon in the Earth Command Center. His face was serious, but not angry. "Commander Draz," said Taewon, "your attack on Earth has failed, but we offer you a choice. Return to your confederation. Tell them Earth is not for conquest. Tell them we want peace, but we are ready for war. If you agree, you and your surviving fleet can go home today." Draz couldn't believe what he was hearing. "You would let us go after we tried to conquer you?" "Yes," said Taewon simply, "because that is strength. Real strength isn't about destruction. It's about knowing when not to destroy." After the screen went dark, Draz looked at Sun Wu. "And if I refuse? Then we take your ships, your technology, and your crew becomes our guests until the Confederation sends someone to negotiate their release." Draz had never faced such a choice before. In all of his conquests, it had been simple: win or die. Now these humans offered something new. "I accept your terms," he said finally. "We will return to the Confederation." 3 days later, the remaining Vostran ships prepared to leave Earth's solar system. They had been repaired enough to make the journey home. Captain Minho of the UEC Defiance would escort them to the edge of human space. In the landing bay of the Conqueror, Draz met with Admiral Sun Wu one last time. "There is one more thing," said Sun Wu, handing Draz a small device. "A message for your leaders." "What does it say?" asked Draz. "It explains who we are, what we want, and what will happen if you return with another fleet." Draz nodded slowly. "You know they will not believe me when I tell them what happened here." "They will," said Sun Wu, "because Captain Minho will show them." As if on cue, the UEC Defiance appeared outside the view screen. It moved with incredible speed, faster than any Vostran ship. "How is this possible?" asked Draz. "Your ships are smaller but faster. Your weapons are stronger. You've only just reached space." Sun Wu smiled. "We took your technology and made it better. Your engines waste power. We fixed that. Your weapons are impressive but inefficient. We improved them." Draz looked shocked. "In just a few months. Humans are good at war, Commander. We had to be. We fought each other for thousands of years. But then we learned something more important: how to make peace." As Draz boarded his ship, he thought about what Sun Wu had said. The Vostrans had conquered because it was easy. They had never faced a species that knew both war and peace. From the bridge of the Defiance, Captain Minho watched the Vostran fleet depart. His orders were clear: show them Earth's power, then let them go. "Set course for the edge of our solar system," he ordered. "Let's give our guests a proper escort home." As the ships moved away from Earth, Minho thought about Jiayan, still held captive on the Vostran homeworld. "We're coming for you," he whispered. "This is just the beginning." News traveled fast across the stars. Even faster was the rumor that the mighty Vostran Confederation had been defeated by a species that had just achieved space travel. On the Vostran homeworld, the High Council was in chaos. "Impossible," shouted one blue-skinned council member. "How could primitives defeat our fleet?" Commander Draz stood before them, his head bowed. "I saw it with my own eyes. Their ships were faster, their weapons stronger. They let us live when they could have destroyed us." "And what of our ultimatum?" asked the head counselor. "They ignored it," said Draz. "They knew our plan before we acted. They were waiting for us." In her locked quarters, Jiayan listened to the chaos through a small device she had hidden in the council chamber weeks ago. She smiled. Earth had won. That night, her door slid open. A Vostran guard entered, looking nervous. "You must come with me," he whispered. "Quickly." Jian followed him through dark hallways until they reached a small ship. "An Earth vessel is waiting beyond the fifth moon," said the guard. "This ship will take you there." "Why are you helping me?" she asked. The guard looked around nervously. "Not all Vostrans agree with conquest. Some of us want change." On the planet Xylos, a green-skinned species watched news of the Vostran defeat with growing excitement. For 200 years, they had been forced to mine their own world for Vostran masters. "If humans could defeat them, why can't we?" whispered one worker to another. That night, the first Xylosan rebellion began. By morning, 3 Vostran outposts had fallen. On Tarn, a world of tall, thin beings, the story was similar. Their scholars had been studying Vostran technology in secret for generations. Now they brought out hidden weapons and rose up against their oppressors. 6 weeks after the Battle of Earth, Jian stood beside President Taiwan as representatives from 7 formerly enslaved worlds arrived for a historic meeting. "Welcome to Earth," said Taiwan. "We have much to learn from each other." A tall Tarnian stepped forward. "For centuries, the Vostrans kept us apart. They told each world they were alone in resisting. Now we know the truth." Scientist Jinnah entered the room, carrying a small device. "This is why the Vostrans were able to control so many worlds," she explained. "Their universal translator gave them power. Now I've created one for all of us." She activated the device, and suddenly everyone could understand each other perfectly. "With this," said Jinnah, "we can share knowledge, culture, and defense plans." In a secret meeting on the Vostran homeworld, war ministers gathered. "We cannot allow this rebellion to spread," said one minister. "We must strike back at Earth with all our forces." "Our full fleet will crush them," agreed another. 20 times the ships we sent before." As they planned, they didn't notice the small recording device hidden under their table, or the former guard who now served a new purpose. On Earth, Admiral Sunwoo studied the intelligence report. "The Vostrans are preparing a massive attack," he told the Defense Council. 2,000 ships. They plan to destroy Earth completely. "Can we win against so many?" asked a council member. "Not alone," said Sunwoo. "But we're not alone anymore." Captain Minho entered with representatives from the newly freed worlds. "The Xylosan fleet may be small, but our ships are fast and our pilots skilled," said the green-skinned admiral. "Tarnian weapons can disable Vostran shields with one shot," added their scientist. "And my people, the Quarians, have been building ships in secret for 50 years, said a blue-tentacled being. Sunwoo nodded. "Together, we have a chance. Not just to defend Earth, but to end Vostran rule forever." As the meeting continued, Jian thought about how quickly things had changed. 2 months ago, Earth had just achieved peace. Now they were forming an alliance that would reshape the galaxy. "We gave peace a chance on Earth," she said quietly. "Now we'll bring it to the stars." 3 months after Earth's victory, a new fleet gathered near the planet Tarn. Ships of different shapes and sizes moved into formation. Some were human vessels, sleek and practical. Others belonged to the green Xylosans, the tall Tarnians, and the tentacled Quarians. Together, they formed the Stellar Coalition. On the command deck of the UEC Peacekeeper, now the Coalition flagship, Admiral Sunwoo met with captains from 12 different worlds. "The Vostran attack fleet will reach us in 6 hours, he said, pointing to a holographic map. 2,000 ships against our 800. Captain Han studied the map. "We're outnumbered, but each of our ships has advantages the Vostrans don't expect." He was right. Chief Engineer Do-Yun had worked with alien scientists to improve every ship. Human engines, Xylosan stealth systems, Tarnian weapons, and Quarian shields now protected the Coalition fleet. "The Vostrans still think they're fighting separate species," said Jian, now the Coalition's chief diplomat. "They don't understand what we've built together." On the Vostran command ship, Grand Admiral Krez watched his massive fleet move toward Tarn. "This would be the largest battle in Vostran history. The primitives think they can challenge us," he told his officers. They forget that we have ruled the stars for 5,000 years. His second-in-command looked concerned. But, sir, reports say they formed an alliance. Multiple species working together. Krez laughed. Impossible. Species never cooperate. They compete and fight. That is the natural order. And what if they do cooperate? Asked a younger officer. Then they will die together, said Krez coldly. As the Vostran fleet approached, President Taiwan addressed the coalition from Earth. Today we fight not just for our worlds, but for all worlds. For the right of every species to live free. On the Peacekeeper, Admiral Sunwoo gave the final orders. The plan was complex but elegant. The smaller, faster ships would attack from multiple directions. The larger ships would protect the flanks. And in the center, a special group waited for the perfect moment. Begin Operation Sunrise, ordered Sunwoo. Across space, coalition ships moved with perfect coordination. They didn't fight like separate species. They fought as one force, each playing to their strengths. The Vostran fleet was massive but slow to respond. They tried to form their traditional battle lines, but the coalition ships didn't follow the expected patterns. "What are they doing?" shouted Admiral Krez as his screen showed chaos. "Where is their main force?" His question was answered when a group of ships suddenly appeared behind his command vessel. Led by Captain Minho on the Defiance, they had used Zolosan stealth technology to approach unseen. "Sir, enemy ships behind us," yelled a Vostran officer. Before Krez could respond, the Defiance fired. Not normal weapons, but a special device created by Tarnian and human scientists. It sent a pulse through the Vostran command ship, disabling its communications. Across the battlefield, Vostran ships lost contact with each other. Without central command, they fell into confusion. "Now," ordered Sunwoo. The coalition fleet closed in from all sides. What had seemed like chaos was actually a carefully planned trap. The Vostran ships, unable to coordinate, were defeated one by one. On his crippled command ship, Admiral Krez watched in horror as his fleet was broken apart. "How is this possible?" he whispered. A transmission came through on the emergency channel. It showed Sunwoo, Han, and representatives from every coalition species. "This is Admiral Sunwoo of the Stellar Coalition. Your fleet is defeated. Your empire is finished. What do you want?" asked Krez bitterly. "The same thing we offered before," said Sunwoo. "Peace, but on our terms now." President Taiwan appeared on screen. "The Vostran Confederation has a choice. Join the Stellar Coalition as equals, not conquerors, or face extinction as your former subjects unite against you." Krez looked at the faces on his screen. Human, Zolosan, Tarnian, Quarian, and others. Species that should have been fighting each other were standing together. For the first time in 5,000 years, the Vostrans had to consider surrender. 5 years had passed since the Great Battle. The galaxy was a different place now. Where once the Vostran Confederation had ruled with fear, the Stellar Coalition now grew through cooperation. Captain Jian stood on the bridge of the exploration vessel Harmony. Once Earth's top diplomat, she now led a crew of humans and aliens on missions of discovery. Today they approached a new solar system at the edge of known space. "Sensor report, please," she asked. A Tarnian officer looked up from her station. 7 planets, Captain. The third one shows signs of life." Jian smiled. "Thank you, Lani. Let's take a closer look." The Harmony moved silently through space, using the improved engines that Chief Engineer Do-Yun had designed. He had retired last year, but not before training engineers from 20 different species. "Captain, I'm detecting artificial structures on the planet," said Haru, the human science officer. "They appear to be early industrial age." "A new civilization," said Jian softly. "First Contact Protocol Alpha." The crew moved with practiced efficiency. This would be the Coalition's 12th First Contact mission. Unlike the Vostrans, who had seen new species as targets for conquest, the Coalition approached them as potential friends. Back on Earth, President Taewon welcomed representatives from the former Vostran homeworld. After their defeat, the Vostrans had gone through massive changes. Their empire had dissolved, but their people had found a new place in the galaxy. 5 years ago, we were enemies, said Taewon to the blue-skinned visitors. Today we work together, as partners. The lead Vostran, once a junior officer named Mox, nodded. Our people spent too long conquering. We forgot how to create, how to grow. Around them, the new coalition headquarters bustled with activity. Beings from 30 different worlds worked side by side. In one corner, Vostran artists shared ancient songs with human musicians. In another, Zelosan farmers discussed crops with Quarian botanists. The Stellar Academy's first-class graduates next month, said Taewon. Students from 47 worlds studying together. Including my daughter, said Mox proudly. She wants to be an explorer, like Captain Jaehyun. In deep space, Admiral Sunwoo and Captain Han led the coalition defense fleet on patrol near the old borders. But these days, their ships rarely fired their weapons. Another quiet month, said Han, now a senior admiral himself. Sunwoo, his hair now gray, smiled. The best kind. Their ships passed a massive construction project. The coalition's first shared world was being built, a space station large enough to house millions from all species. Did you ever think we'd see this? Asked Han. When we first fought the Vostrans. Sunwoo thought back to those tense days when Earth stood alone against alien invaders. No, he admitted. I was just trying to save our world. I never imagined we'd help build a new galaxy. On the Harmony, Jaehyun prepared to send the first message to the new civilization below. Her crew included humans, Vostrans, Zelosans, Tarnians, and others, once enemies, now friends. Remember, she told them, our goal is to invite, never to impose. We offer friendship, but respect their choice. As the message was sent, Jaehyun looked around at her diverse crew. Each species brought different strengths, different views. Together, they were stronger than any could be alone. She thought about Earth's journey. For thousands of years, humans had fought each other. Then they found peace. When the Vostrans came, humans used their knowledge of war to defend themselves. But it was their understanding of peace that truly changed the galaxy. Message sent, Captain, reported the communications officer. Now we wait, said Jaehyun, and hope they're ready for new friends. Through the view screen, she could see the coalition exploration fleet spreading across the stars. Hundreds of ships, filled with beings from dozens of worlds, all working together. And at the front, leading the way, were the ships of Earth, once built for war, now carrying peace to the stars. We gave peace a chance, Jaehyun whispered to herself. And now the stars are ours to share. As the Harmony orbited the new world, the future stretched before them like an endless frontier, not to conquer, but to explore together.